I'm talking about people that are new into Scientology. They don't go in through the Church of Scientology, the official church, but they're into the independent field. And basically they're told not to read the internet, and they're taken by somebody in the independent field, and they get the version of the tech from the people that take them in. And I've had occasion to go to dinner with such people, and what I've seen is that they're very attracted to old-timers that have been around for a while, you know, that were on the ship with Ron, or they were at St. Hill, or they were even older timers that were with Ron in Washington, D.C. And they're just fascinated by hearing we old-timers, myself being one, my friend Candy Swanson is another well-known one. They're fascinated by hearing us tell anecdotes about the old days, or if we were fortunate enough to actually speak with Ron or Mary Sue or Diana. Quentin is somebody they're very interested in. So I was working with Candy and others. Tatiana is somebody else that we've talked it over with. And we want to try and expand and standardize the way new people come in. You know, we were thinking of something like an intro lecture, but it wouldn't just be one lecture. It could be divided into perhaps 12 parts. And there could be videos made of these parts, or the intro parts could be given live at some kind of seminar. You know, you might take up the ARC triangle, the KRC triangle, rules for happy living, admin scale, whatever. There's many different topics that you could do that used to be covered in a standard intro lecture, which is called the personal efficiency course. We could give a course like that, but maybe break it into several parts. And then another thing, that once the person's indoctrinated, they could be given the PCA test, which is similar but an upgrade to the OCA test that's given by the church. And that test can be given, which gives case gain, and it can be graded. And the person can have a lot of new realizations. And the way we do it, that we're not in it for the money. In fact, the test is given free, you know, and it's to reveal to the person more about themselves. And there's no heavy cycle put on to try and close them on a big package or anything at that point. You know, that's not what it is. But they see where they stand, and they get some awareness on where they stand. And then another thing that we tried, we've actually just started it. We gave one try, very successful, on February 5th in Beverly Hills, California, and that was a workshop where we took up a topic. Like this particular workshop, we had my favorite axiom, and then the facilitator, the person putting on the workshop, picked an axiom. That was Candy Swanson, who took Axiom 28 on communication. And then everybody in the room, it was a small gathering, 8 people, each of the 8 of us gave our favorite axiom, you know, from the axiom book. And as a matter of fact, I gave one axiom 4, space is a viewpoint of dimension, and the person whose house it was, she just lit up like a Christmas tree, like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And she was just fascinated with that subject, and you know, she wanted to know more. She said, well, what does it mean, you know, a viewpoint of dimension? I can't quite get what you're getting at. And I said, well, okay, you know, a baseball stadium, let's say you wanted to see a baseball game, but they were sold out. Well, in the old days, the kids used to maybe find a knot hole or cut a hole in the fence and watch the game through the knot hole. And I said, they are using the knot hole as a viewpoint, and the game going on in the field contains the space. The ball is hit towards the knot hole, away from the knot hole, side to side, and they watch the game through the knot hole, and that's what's going on. That's what we're doing in the physical universe. Axiom 4, space is a viewpoint of dimension. This person she blew out. She says, I think I'm exterior. Oh, stop the press, you know. And so we said, okay, nice win. And that was just a sample of what can happen in one of these seminars. So that's pretty much the idea. You know, we want to have a way to introduce new people to this technology and have it somewhat standardized. I mean, it'll be individually tailored, but the overall format will be standardized. And right now we're thinking of a personal efficiency course divided into multiple parts, probably 12 parts to start. Then we're going to have the PCA test for free. Taking the test, which we have our facilitator ask the questions, and it comes off the internet. The questions are on the internet, and then the facilitator evaluates right in front of the person and shows them their strengths and their weaknesses. And then we're going to do these seminars and workshops with the person. And then if they want to go further, we're going to offer training packages, or they can get processing from a top world-class auditor and bring up the low ends of their PCA test. So that would give some standardness. And I also wanted to say about the internet, the internet is a tool, you know. It has a reputation. It's just a bashing board where everything is put down and knocked, and we're trying to make other use of it, have an objective forum on the internet where the good and the bad are mentioned objectively, and the good points that are available are strongly emphasized, and without bashing anybody. And I think the internet can be put to use and get rid of the reputation that it's just a place where people vent their hatreds and bash. So I wanted to include the internet also as a source of standard introductory tech. And
tell us about your thread.
well, my thread, I have a thread on ESMB, Ex-Scientology Message Board. It's called The Old Days, aboard the Apollo, 1973, where I served on the Apollo in 1973, and also before that, in 1970, I had been involved very heavily with the Celebrity Center during its startup phase. Well, shortly after its startup phase, I came there about 8 months after startup. I filled in the first 8 months with my friend Candy Swanson. She grooved me in on what happened those 8 months before I got there. But anyway, we have some of the top people on the board, and we have the highest stats on the board. We're nearing 300,000 hits now, far beyond anything else on that board. And we don't bash, you know, we present the good and bad, and we're as objective as possible. And I have that going right now, and I need help to make it better, you know. And in fact, what I'd like to do is make an ebook out of it, you know, and take some of the finest articles and put an index on them and organize them and really make something out of all the great material that's there. So that would be another thing we could look at. So that's about it, just to have, when people get involved, have a way that a runway where they can get on, and that's standard, and that's all expansive and you know, very positive, and not just be a hodgepodge of individual practitioners doing their own little methods. You know, we want to have all good methods be available through our source. Everything. Social work, you know, stuff that's taught in the universities, Scientology, offshoots from Scientology that have workable tech. I mean, anything that's workable. We're going for workability. The workability, if it works, people get better results one for one, almost uniformly. We want to have it incorporated. If it doesn't work, we don't want to have any part of it. So that's about it. That's all I can say at this time. Thank you.